said, you're going to hate it. You're going to hate the first part of it. You're not going to want to hear these words. Nothing I see means anything. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? I'm giving everything I see all the meaning it has for me. This child spitting on me. You're going to hate that part. But keep going. This is what I told him. I said, keep going. I'm jumping right into it because I'm all geeked. I did a long recording, like 20 some odd minutes, talking about a few things. The white edition, going to do a soft launch, so there'll be more info about that. You can also take a look, and if you can stand it, it's like a 25-minute long video. If you can stand it, you can, double time me and hear what I got to say about this. I also said a little bit about the 20-minute book, and all of that is being said because I'm going to do a read of the introduction to the first review section of A Course in Miracles. The reason all of those other things came about is because I've said it before when I talk about extending this little book, that the review section is what's in here. This is the core of what's in this book. This is the little 20-minute book, The Traveler's Guide to the Third Dimension, which we give away for free. Holla at your girl. The core of that is the review section of A Course in Miracles, and that's where we find ourselves now. So I just wanted to read the introduction because I want to. And I had, the beginning of the year, I had made a point to encourage following the directions. And if you've been doing the workbook lessons, then you know that Jesus gives directions in each one of the lessons. But he also takes a minute before the review section to, kind of let you know where we are. And also, because the review section is, as I've said before, when I talk about this little John, the first 50 lessons is the entire thought system of the course. The review section is a review of the entire thought system. It's just we do this as a practice. This is why we have this little book. This is why we give it away. You get to see like the whole arc of the course. And I said this in the last one, so this will be redundant. The master teacher says that if you look at those, I have a story. The first few, like maybe half of the lessons of the first 50, it reads like a suicide note. I guess if you did the whole thing, the first half is the tearing down, the letting go. Call it tearing down, like the letting go of the habituated egoic mind, just letting that go and creating space for the insertion of light. So the second half, it's not quite half and half, but the second part of it is the insertion of light. So it's a really powerful practice. That's what we do. Holler at me if you want to. Holler at me if you want a book. Happy to send it out to you. But I'm going to take a second to do this. I wanted to say something, though. I was thinking about that as I was talking about that. I'll give these little books away. And there was one time in particular, one of my homies I hadn't seen in a while rolled up on me on a bike and was like, yo, Tina. And we just started to like join. And they know me in the neighborhood as like they call me the Buddha, because I used to chant over them. And, I just love my homies. So they, we good. They call me Latina. The Buddha on the block. So he rolled up on me. We were talking, and as we were talking, it came, I started to realize, he was really troubled. And eventually it came out that he was homeless, and he had been sort of suffering in his situation, and people were being really cruel to him. And he told me the story about a child like spitting on him, and he was like, Tina, like, why would they treat me? And so he asked me at the time, he's like, what is that chant you used to do? Can I do that chant? And I was like, yes. You know what I mean? Like whatever words you need to do to call out to God. I'm not, like, if that's what you want, yes, let's do that. So, we joined, and I just was with him. And at some point I thought, let me go grab this book. So I said, yo, hold on a second. So I ran home and I came back and I gave him this book. And I'm just saying this because this is what I want to say to you about how the arc of this little 20-minute book goes. When I handed him that book, my heart was just so, I love him so much, Puerto. We call him Puerto. I love Puerto so much. And I told him, I says, here, take this book. And I said, you're going to hate it. You're going to hate the first part of it because it's talking to you about where you are. And you're not going to want to hear these words. Nothing I see means anything. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? I'm giving everything I see all the meaning it has for me. This child spitting on me. You're going to hate that part, but keep going. This is what I told him. I said, keep going. It's going to meet you where you find yourself now, just to let that part go, because it's not who you really are. It's going to take you home. It's going to tell you. Lesson 50 is going to let you know. Lesson 50 is I am sustained by the love of God. I am sustained by the love of God. So I told him, I said, you're going to hate the first part, but don't stop. Don't stop. Keep going. So I'm going to say the same thing to you guys. You guys that are doing it, and you know how you feel. Maybe you don't have that same experience. Maybe I projected that onto Puerto. That's how it feels for me. But to get to lesson 50, this is what I say to anybody whenever we join for the reading of the first 50, you got to get there. Oftentimes, it takes us a long time to do it. It's called the 20-minute book, and that's totally like Jesus in marketing, because I've never done it even by myself for 20 minutes. But when we do join, it can take us hours to do this. And we used to go right into a satsang, so often we would not get through the entire thing, especially when my teacher would jump in with all of his, energy, his package coming in and just, really blowing our minds. We would hardly ever get through the whole thing. That's why we started to do other joinings where the purpose was just to do the entire, because you got to get to lesson 50. You got to get to that part where you hear the Christ mind tell you that you are sustained, and you say it to yourself. I am sustained by the love of God. I am sustained by the love of God. Everything, I should read it to you guys one day, or read it yourself. Better than that, read it yourself. Just like the review section. I'm going to read it, but read it yourself. I'm doing this. I'm recording this just as an encouragement. And I just wanted to add that part. I'll see if I can add a little more, if at all. So here it is. Here it is. Coming to you from the White Edition. Review 1 of A Course in Miracles, the White Edition. All right, here it goes. This is what the Christ Mind's got to say. He says, beginning with today. If you're on lesson 51, I'm a couple of days late, but whatever, whenever. Beginning with today, we will have a series of review periods. Each of them will cover 5 of the ideas already presented, starting with the first and ending with the 50th. There will be short comments after each of the ideas. So it's not the actual, you'll see this, it's not the actual full lesson. It's like little bitty paragraphs. He's going to talk about it. Each of them will cover 5 of the ideas already presented, starting with the first and ending with the 50th. I am sustained by the love of God. There will be short comments after each of the ideas, which you should consider in your review. In the practice period, the exercises should be done as follows. Here's the instructions. Begin the day by reading the 5 ideas with the comments included. Thereafter, it is not necessary to follow any particular order in considering them, though each one should be practiced at least once. Very simple instructions. He asks very little. He says, devote 2 minutes or more to each practice period, but he's going to over-deliver. So say that he asks very little, but he gives so much. Devote 2 minutes or more to each practice period, thinking about the idea and related comments. Do this as often as possible during the day. If any one of the 5 ideas appeals to you more than the others, concentrate on that one. See. At the end of the day, however, be sure to review all of them once more. You guys understand what that means. Do it in the morning, find one that's really resonating, then do that one, maybe more than the others, but do them throughout the day, but also come back at the end of the night and do all 5 of them. All right. It is not necessary to cover the comments literally or thoroughly in the practice periods. Try rather merely to emphasize the central point and think about it as part of your review of the idea to which it relates. Simple. The review exercises should be done with your eyes closed and when you are alone in a quiet place if possible. This is emphasized particularly for reviews at your stage of learning. This is important. Let me say it again. The review exercises should be done with your eyes closed and when you are alone in a quiet place if possible. This is emphasized particularly for reviews at your stage of learning. This is it. It will be necessary, however, that you learn to require no special settings in which to apply what you have learned. I'm going to read that again because this is really important. He's saying where we are right now, you want to maybe control the conditions, circumstances, conditions, where you find yourself right now. Helpful. But it's also going to be necessary that you do learn to require no special settings in which to apply what you have learned. Here's why. You will need it most, talking about the lessons, you will need it most in situations which appear to be upsetting rather than in those which already seem to be calm and quiet. I just want to say something real quick. It just made me think about it. I teach yoga in the park. Sometimes I do recordings in the park. I also teach yoga in a little Buddhist temple. In the temple, of course, just like a studio, all the conditions are controlled. It's quiet. We do, we meditate wherever we are. But we've got gongs, we've got mats there. Everything is there for you. It's all set up for you to be at peace. All the conditions. The park, though, we on the city streets in LA, busy city streets. I mean, it's $1 million neighborhood, but in that $1 million neighborhood, all the nannies come with all their instruments, all their food, and they making a joyful noise in that park with the babies, and dogs come. People walk their dogs. I have a friend who walks like 7 dogs. The dogs come through there. Some people don't take care of their dogs. Sometimes there's poo. Sometimes the dogs are peeing. We are out there like that doing yoga. Smog, dogs, poo, babies, nannies, joyful noise. We are out there trying to be at peace, right? And I tell my yogis there's no better place to do our yoga. No better place to do our yoga. It's cool to be at the temple. It's cool. It's nice. Just like he says, at this stage, this is going to be good for you to control your circumstances. However, I tell my yogis, we carry our peace with us. This is a beautiful place to see if I can carry my peace with me. No matter where I go, I'm going to carry my mind with me. It's one thing to take yourself to a cave. But man, you're the light of the world. I'm the light of the world. Where am I supposed to bring my light? Into more light? Right on. That's cool. But, if I can learn to be at peace, regardless of what circumstances seem to report, that's a powerful practice. And I tell my yogis all the time, we carry our peace with us and we see where we are, where we want to. Oh, I was in during COVID, one more story, sorry. Another yoga story. The yoga studios were down, right? All the yoga studios were closed down, COVID. So this one really expensive studio was offering yoga on Zoom, donation, free. I've never had the money to actually take that particular yoga. So I was happy to be able to donate whatever. But nobody knew how to work Zoom, right? During COVID, all of us yogis and people that weren't in business, we didn't know how to work Zoom. So it was like a challenge. It was a challenge when I was set up for me to teach the yoga through the Zoom. It was a challenge for everybody. And this big studio was having a challenge. And the people, again, it was just my own mind, just like the situation on the bus when the bus was fighting my mind. The people were loading up those comments with complaints. And one comment came through, because I was watching the comments, right? One comment came through and she was like, "This is not yoga." And of course, I didn't have to respond what I did. I was like, "You not yoga." I wasn't very yoga either. But it's another example of, we think that yoga is the act of something. No. And I'm using yoga as an example. You know what I mean? This setup is disturbing my peace. This is not yoga. No, yoga is it doesn't matter where you are, city, street, Zoom room, with all kind of technical difficulties. All right, so that's that. I mean, Christ mind is probably going to say it better than me and clearer than me and with a lot less stories. But let me read it again because I think it's super important. The review exercises should be done with your eyes closed and when you are alone in a quiet place if possible. This is emphasized particularly for reviews at your stage of learning. It will be necessary, however, again, that you learn to require no special skills or special settings, that you learn to require no special settings in which to apply what you have learned. You don't need, the Zoom room to work all right. You don't need to be inside the temple. You want to learn to require no special settings in which to apply what you have learned. Because you're going to need you will need it most in situations which appear to be upsetting. That's when you're going to need to be able to have the presence of mind to use your workbook lesson, to apply your lesson when you are distressed. So he says you will need it most in situations which appear to be upsetting rather than in those which already seem to be calm and quiet. Then he goes on to say the purpose of your learning is to enable you to bring the quiet with you. Like I say to my yogis, we carry our peace with us. The purpose of your learning is to enable you to bring the quiet with you and to heal distress and turmoil. This is not done by avoiding them and seeking a haven of isolation for yourself. That goes back to Yes Juan, thank you, earlier today. This is not done by avoiding them and seeking a haven of isolation for yourself. You will yet learn that peace is part of you and requires only that you be there to embrace any situation in which you are. See, again, that's the yes, well, thank you. We want to put our hands on the wheel and not really allow ourselves to experience, wait a minute. When I come out, when I am not trying to isolate myself from these things that I think may be not the best situation for me. I think I know how this should best be done. I don't know. He says, this is not done by avoiding them and seeking a haven of isolation for yourself. You will yet learn that peace is part of you. That's how we learn that. And requires only that you be there to embrace any situation in which you are. And finally, you will learn that there is no limit. This is the best part, to where you are, so that your peace is everywhere as you are. Oh, I want to read that again. You will yet learn that peace is part of you and requires only that you be there to embrace any situation in which you are. And finally, you will learn that there is no limit to where you are, so that your peace is everywhere as you are. I'll continue. You will note for review purposes the ideas are not always given in quite their original form of statement. Use them as they are given here. It is not necessary to return to the original statements, nor to apply the ideas as was suggested then. We are now emphasizing the relationships. This is, again, Master Teacher talking about how it starts off like a suicide note and it ends up like a beautiful prayer. We are now emphasizing the relationships among the first 50 of the ideas we have covered and the cohesiveness of the thought system to which they are leading you. It's already 19 minutes. I'm going to read this last paragraph one more time. All right, my bad, y'all. You will note that for review purposes, the ideas are not always given in quite their original form or statement. Use them as they are given here. It is not necessary to return to the original statements, nor to apply the ideas as was suggested then. We are now emphasizing the relationships among the first 50 of the ideas we have covered and the cohesiveness of the thought system to which they are leading you. All right, y'all. Thank you for indulging me. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. Stay tuned. Love you.